Hello everybody, AOG Gaming here, back with another video on Dislyte. This video is basically going to be about everything good that Dislyte has been doing so far, and also everything that they could add that they're already doing to make the game even better. Some of it for the suggestions will be stuff we've already said before, obviously, because they still haven't fucking implemented it, which I don't know why, but like, it would be so helpful for the player base if they added wish stones to the elemental draws. If they took away divinates from the gold record. The problem is, I don't think they're taking away divinates from the gold record because they want to scam people out of their money. That is pretty much the only way they're going to make money lucratively. So instead of doing that, they could just add wishstone support. So people, because again, gold records is like the main currency in the game in terms of collecting espers. They're the easiest you can get, right? The elemental records are harder, except they don't give you wish stones, so they kind of became they became worse because they're harder to get. You only get a specific element, and you don't have a chance for divinate in that draw. So, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's these elemental records. What are they called? Flow record, wind record. Yeah. So the elemental records, and you also get the shards. It's the same thing basically. So, like, I'm pretty sure everyone knows these draws have become not useless, but like, honestly, I've gotten more legendaries out of there than I've gotten out of the freaking gold draw. Like, I've gotten so many divinates out of the gold draw, and I've gotten obviously absolutely shit from the gold draw. As you can see, we are 48 spins in. Actually, it didn't even update. I'm pretty sure I was at 30. So we've done a lot of freaking draws, and we only have 20. Wait, I had 28 wish stones on my phone. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's not syncing. Yeah. So basically, I did a 10 draw, and I got a single wish stone, which is fucking ridiculous. Out of a 10 draw, you should at least get 5 wish stones. It is just such a ridiculous amount, and I've been getting it for the past 7 draws. Why do you think I only have 26 wish stones? Because every fucking draw I've done, I've gotten 1 wish stone. It is so ridiculous. Like, the proof is right in front of you. I'm like, all the YouTubers who say otherwise, they're just trying to scam you. I'm sorry, but it's true. Literally, the proof is right in front of your eyes, right here. You can see it. 26 wish stones. The last character I got was Haley. That was a really long ass time ago. Oh wait, no. It was sorry, Fushi, because obviously he's the most broken support slash fighter esper technically, but he supports your team like crazy. So I got at least 1 base copy of him so that eventually I could get him to R2. Okay, that was like what, a week ago? I've done 1 pity already, so I got 20 wish stones for that, and then this entire time. So basically, out of 200 draws, I've gotten 1 pity esper and 1 free legendary esper. That is ridiculous. It is just so bad. These chances are so bad. There's a reason why this game is still continuously dying. There's one hardcore fact, and I'm sorry, Dislyte, but your game isn't going to go anywhere unless you fix this thing, because it is literally the worst. There is not a single game that I play that I know, like, if I knew a game that was worse, then I would mention it. And if it's worse, there's a reason I don't know what it is and I'm not playing it, because it's a shitty game. 1% chance to get an Esper. I don't give a fuck what people say about 2%. That's not true. You didn't take 8 pieces to stats, don't say shit, okay? You don't know how probability works. I hate how people say they know how 50-50 works. No, you don't. Also, you don't keep up with science news, so you don't know that the 50-50 has been revised. There's something called intrinsic probability. It comes into play, and it fucking ruins everything with 50-50s. It's not a 50-50. It becomes different depending on what you got before, how many times you've drawn. It's a whole nother thing. It becomes like the measurement of the probability for 50-50s when it comes to intrinsic probability, which I know I'm explaining it really mathematically, conceptually, is based on how many draws you do, and what your chances were when you did those draws, what you got when you did those draws. So basically everything you've done is based on what you've done before, which sounds weird, but that's how it is. Intrinsic probability, 50-50. That's kind of how the universe works. There's a 50-50 chance for you to take a certain action or you to take the complete opposite action. It's intrinsic probability. It's tied into the universe. It's how fucking quantum mechanics works on some conceptual level. There's a 50-50% chance it'll do this or it's doing the opposite, because that's just how it works. It works the same with the 50-50s. It is based on what has happened before and what you've gotten. Somehow, I have a really high chance of getting a legendary now because I've gotten absolute shit, except it doesn't work that way because it's based on the amount of draws you do per cycle. Yeah, I don't know. And then it says the over probability of getting a legendary Esper is 1.58. That's 100% bullshit. It's 1% chance. I don't know how they do their math, but they obviously did not go to and take an AP stats class because that is not true. It's 1% chance. I don't care what they say, it's a 1% chance. It's not 1.58, it's 1% chance. That's why everyone is getting more Divinates than Espers. Or most people are. I know the YouTubers somehow are getting lucky. I don't know how that works. Seriously. I might be like the unluckiest YouTuber on the goddamn planet, but seriously. Fucking 70 draws and not a single legendary Esper. And it's not the fact that this happens once. It happens almost every other time. Maybe the next 100 pulls I will get 2 legendary Espers, but then the next 100 pulls, nothing until I get to pity. It is fucking ridiculous. They need to switch those chances up now, because that is the one thing holding back this game. The gold records are absolute shit. And obviously the biggest problem with that is Divinates, where they give you Divinates for legendary Espers you don't have, legendary Espers that you're not even using. Like, you may have them, but I guess it's fine because you can use their Divinates to do stuff with them. So I'm okay with them giving you Divinates for Espers you have. Them giving you Divinates for Espers you don't have is complete bullshit. They're going to be like, oh, it's so hard to code that into the game. No, it's not. It would take 3 lines of code. You just code a search engine sorter for the draw, where it sorts basically what you have on your account and what you don't. What you don't have on your account, it won't give you the Divinate for, but it'll give you the Esper for. Whatever Divinate you have, it'll give you the Divinate for. Whatever Espers you have, it'll put those Divinates on the list with the gold records. This way, you have a higher chance of obtaining Espers. So this way, they don't change the 1% chance, but you get a lower percent for the Epic Divinate, Legendary Divinate, and Rare Divinate because you have less of those characters. Obviously, if you have all the rares, you're going to have a full 40% chance of getting a Rare Divinate or a Rare Esper. That's fine. But if you only have, like, let's say 3% of the legendary Espers in the game, you will have a 1.7% chance of getting a legendary Esper, whereas getting a legendary Divinate will be 0.3. Is that 3%? Yeah, 3% of 1%. So you would have only 3% because you only have 3% of the Espers in the game. So you would have more chance of collecting the Espers. Therefore, the legendary Divinate chance and the legendary chance will eventually even out to 1% and 1%. That is a much better way of doing it. I can't speak today. Because it raises the chances for you to collect Espers, which is the main portion of the game. And I think one of the main problems with Divinates. Not only does it stop you from collecting legendary Espers, but it also oversaturates your draws with Divinates. So when you're trying to collect specific Espers, even rare Espers, max them out, it's hard because you just get a ton of Divinates. Like, I cannot tell you how many Divinates I get compared to Espers. It is much more. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's something coded into the game where it does that. I think this is just them showing you this so that you believe them. I don't think this is true in any case. Especially this part where it says 1.58% chance. Doesn't make any sense. Like, I can run, like, once I get my PC, I will literally run simulations and see how bad it is. And I will show you the how the intrinsic probability works with the 50-50, because it is not an upside down bell curve, it is an M, basically. There's 2 bell curves, and one side is Divinates, one side is Espers, and in the middle, it's the middle ground, but less people get that because Getting 50-50 is harder. Getting to 50-50%, you need a ridiculous amount of draws. So I will show you how that looks like once I get my PC tomorrow. Well, I obviously have to set everything up, but you'll see that. So yeah, it's just something that I really want them to focus on because, again, they're completely ignoring the obvious fucking problem, and that is the gacha itself. Once they added the divinates, the gacha itself became really bad. And that is because it's already horrible to get a specific Esper, considering that I don't even know how many Espers there are in the game, right? Like, you look at probabilities, you have less than a 1%, you have less than half a 1% chance. You have literally a 0.02% chance, less than a 0.02% chance of getting a specific legendary Esper. Shimmers are even worse. Why is this a problem? Is because like I said, every gacha game, when they release new characters, they oversaturate their gacha pool. So the gacha pool in itself becomes just not feasible. Because it's such a low chance of getting a specific Esper, you're probably going to get copies of Espers you already have, probably maxed out, more often than you are going to get new Espers because it is such a low chance. And everyone says, oh, it's equal chance, how it works. I don't know. I seem to be getting a lot more Espers than I already have. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like companies intrinsically, sorry, not intrinsically, they already code something into the game that gives you stuff that you already have so that you pay more money. Like, I feel like that is a thing. There is no way that is not a thing. Because how can the government regulate that if it's part of their game and games are like something that you spend money on? So it's not like we're being tricked into spending more money. You're the one who's consciously making the decision of spending the money. So the company doesn't take any fault for it. It's you who's spending the money who's taking the fault because you're the one who's making the obvious choice of trusting the company and spending the money. However, the company can just have it coded and not tell you and just be like, yeah, you have a higher chance of getting what you already have because we want you to spend more money on our game. Of course, no company will tell you that. No company will admit that either. But it happens. It's been in code before. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past Lilith Games. I'm not accusing them of doing that, but I wouldn't put it past them. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean that's my biggest gripe with the game, right? Is the fact that getting Espers is really hard. You need R2 Espers in order to be competitively viable in this game. I mean, even if you have R0 Ana and R0 Toll, like all R0 Shimmers, you're not going to be that competitive in the game. Yeah, you'll be like top 10% probably because you have all the Shimmers in the game. And you have Ana and Toland. But, because again, PvP is where you have most of the rewards, which you can max out characters. So, they really have made the pay-to-win part of this game the most lucrative part of the game, where you can basically pay to get these Espers and you will have the highest and best rewards in the game, which is again another reason why your game is dying and people are seeing this game is not free to play viable anymore. Yeah, I mean the Echo is the biggest gripe, right? They need to add wish stones to the elemental draws. They need to either take away the divinities completely from the gold draw, which they probably aren't going to do because again they want their lucrative business of scamming people out of their money. So instead, what they can do is make it easier to get legendary Espers by only giving you divinates to the Espers you already have, which means that getting legendary divinates and epic divinates most likely chances will be lowered, but getting those Espers will be increased, and in turn it'll slowly increase as you collect more Espers. So it balances out basically. And it still keeps their same chances, it just makes it so that earlier game players can collect Espers much faster. Because there is a lot of support for late game. So I can't really say, like we have Celestial Anomaly where we can collect free Espers. Like early game doesn't have this. I think you need to complete Hell mode, not Hell mode, whatever the hardest mode is, not Hell mode, Purgatory mode, I think, on Story mode, in order to unlock this, and then you can get free Espers, right? And it's just for playing this. By the way, I will talk about this in a little bit, but this is an amazing thing that they added to the game. Yes, it was here before, but they changed how it works, and it's cool, so I will go over it. Yeah, biggest thing about the game, getting legendary Espers is really hard. they are, you know, giving us free espers. They are adding like easier ways to do this echo thing, but again, there's not enough wish stones for this to be viably feasible. I know all the YouTubers are saying, "Oh no, it's totally possible." How many hours do you spend on this game? I know you spend more than 2 hours. That is not what average players spend. So when you say it's free to play viable, you mean if this is the only game you play, and you play this game for more than its dailies, which is what most people do not do. I play a little bit over the dailies because you kind of have to do that if you're going to be serious about the game and also have a late game. When you get into late game, you got to do more than your dailies. Like, you got to do Beat Bow, you got to do Point War, you got to do Desolate Land, you got to do Cube Miracle. Like, you got to do all of these things daily so that you're getting rewards, you're doing all this stuff. You do Ritual Miracle if you're grinding. I don't really do Ritual Miracle because my gear sets are at a good place, and I'm just trying to get the boost stones for my gear from the Desolate Land. So yeah, because I have like a 307 speed TA right now, which is like pretty decent. It's not, you know, crazy like some people have like 320 or something. Again, I haven't gone to the like EX on any of the Desolate Lands, so I haven't gone to the legendary wish stones, and I haven't even done the hard mode on any of them, because I haven't even gotten my tier maxed out, and I'm still building a lot of units. And again, this is a free to play account that only plays an hour to an hour and 30 minutes a day, which is pretty average. That's kind of how the gameplay works. And anybody who plays more than that, you can't really call yourself an average Dislyte player. You are an avid Dislyte player if you play at least 2 hours or more on this game, because like most people do not have the time to spend that amount of time playing one single game every single day just to push. Okay, I'm gonna stop going on tangents now. So we will get into the serious stuff. So yeah, that was the main stuff. So now we're just gonna like start not smashing. We're just gonna start listing stuff off. Forget everything I said before that. We're gonna start listing stuff off really rapidly and just talking about stuff and things that they could fix. All right, number one. So for trials for Desolate Land, we get a lot of materials for this, and these are just excessive materials, right? You get where the heck was it? I guess it doesn't show it here, right? Well, I'll just show you in my inventory. So you get these flow crystal diamonds, right? We have a lot of shimmer crystal diamonds. Now, the thing is, I'm gonna have a lot more of these. I'm probably gonna have like 20k or something, and like you still collect a lot of these individual stones just because you're collecting boost stones for specific equipment sets. So you're gonna have an abundance of them. I already have tier at R2, I think. So like I definitely am going to be grinding more of these, and I will have a lot more. So they can make use of these currencies by, again, adding more espers to the esper fusion. They keep giving us free espers, which is good, but again, early game, specifically for Desolate Lands, needs to have espers. So you can give us Desolate Land espers. You can add more epic espers. You should add more legendary espers for sure, because if you don't, it's not really going to help anybody, because epic espers kind of become phased out once you have high enough fusions on your legendaries and you can use them. So you should make sure that you add more legendaries as well. I mean, yeah, I wish they let us R6 Fatten Sisters and Jinyu Yao. One, because Jinyu Yao, while she is PvP meta, she has fallen far from the not far from the top. She's still pretty top meta Esper, especially with Anna. But like, it's just Queen Mother. There's 100 ways, not 100 ways to counter her. There's pretty easy ways to play around her. So if you have her at R6, I don't think Dislyte should be that worried about it. Like, if everyone had R6 Queen Mother, what's that gonna do, huh? It's just gonna make everyone who's in PvP a little bit better. It'll also encourage people to grind more in games, play more. So R6 Jinyu, helpful. It would also be insanely helpful for APEP. Amazing. Fatten Sisters for APEP. Again, amazing. They're not like the craziest Esper either. Like, they have some, I think it was Revival and Indestructibility once they get enough. Well, they have Indestructibility already, but they have Revival I think, on one of their resonances. Or is it standoff? I forgot. But yeah, it'll just be very good for Kronos, just to have Phantom Sisters R6. Because we already have Lucas and Camille and Everett. What's two more? Again, they could add more legendary espers, but I think they should do this in increments. And really what this can do is eventually you're going to have like a billion espers in the pool, right? Dislyte Lilith games. So what you can do is have an esper, have 5 espers for each ritual miracle, because really that's like the point where you can stop supporting players, like to the point where you're giving them free R6s, because at that point it's like you should be moving into like getting specific characters to higher resonances rather than building characters for ritual miracle. You could only give us up to 3. I feel like that would be fine. Give us so like you have Alexa, she's good in APEP, right? So Alexa, Phantom Sister. So you can give us one more epic for, so 2 epics and 3 legendaries per ritual miracle boss. This will help us push content there. It'll help us push our accounts because, you know, there are very good espers like Everett and Jin Yuyao. Lucas is also really good in PvP still. I use him. Camille is also a very good utility character. So again, these characters can actually help push your accounts, but again, the way they did this system here is very good. The only problem is that there's not enough espers that it actually helps your account, and also the fact that 2 of the legendary espers you don't even get to R6, which means you only get their base copy, you only get the smallest potential. It hardly helps you push for the floor 16s of the ritual miracles, which is what it should be doing, right? This should help you push to the R16 so that you can at least get max equipment. After that, it's all about boost stones and desolate lands, and again, that'll all be here and it'll be grinding, which is fine. Like, that is fine. And most of the desolate land stuff you collect as you play the game. By the time you get to desolate lands, you pretty much either have most of the characters or are collecting, maxing out most of the characters to play for desolate lands. So that is just something to keep in mind. Next thing that they could do that would be very helpful to the game. What else was I gonna say? Alright, they didn't add the new achievement things, right? Oh no, this is the wrong thing. Journey? Nope. Courses, right. So they didn't add the new Desolate Lands one. I think that's it, but they should add more stuff. So there's like, I don't know, Celestial Anomaly now. They could add that to here. There is, what was the other thing? There's the Penrose Stairs, whatever the thing is called. So like in Trials, right? You have a lot of stuff that isn't just, like there's Falsetto Fantasy as well. There's the Chaos Realm, sorry, that's what I was talking about. There's Calamity Island. They could give you rewards for just completing stuff here. And the reason why I say just add a little bit more rewards to the game, again, it'll help push content for people, or just their account in general. But more importantly, it's going to help people really like get engaged into the game, right? Because if there's more things for you to do that's gonna push your account, it's gonna incentivize people to stay on the game and continue, because the only thing that happens the longer you stay on the game is that your account gets exponentially better and better. E7 did an amazing job with this. Of course, it took them a couple of years to get there, but they did an amazing job with it. It is to the point where you could spend like 3 days non-stop playing the game, which I don't recommend. I would only do it for 1 day, which is what I did. And you get so much grind and push on your account, you're like, I could just keep going. Like, that's the thing, right? That's what you want in a game. You don't want in a game where you get stopped and they're like, alright, pay up. Like, that just disincentivizes people, because it doesn't become a game at that point. It becomes a pay service to have fun. Games weren't intentionally made for people to pay to have fun. The first games ever invented where people just had fun because that's what games are. They're made for people to have fun. You know, not everything has to be free, but the essentiality of having fun is supposed to be free. That is what the game is. That's what a game is. I don't know how else to tell you. People are like, oh, video games are different. No, they're games. It's literally in the name. It is a game. By all basis and standard, it should be a thing where people can just go and have fun without having to do anything else than participate. That is what games are. Dislyte, you go ahead and look up what a game is. You're like, oh, but this is a video game. It's literally just a game, but on a computer. There is no difference. Game is still a word in video game. So it's just like common sense, please. They have added events. Like, I hope that they keep this thing going. So every I don't know how, I think it was 60 days. Every 60 days, was it every 2 months? Whatever. Every 2 months they give us this thing, so this continues. This would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, and they've had a decent amount of events recently. So again, like I said, they've been cooking pretty well. Anomaly, as long as it stays here, I think the game is much better for it because it gives a lot of late game players, a lot of returning players something to do. And that's another thing, right? That was the main thing I've been mentioning right now. Giving players things to do that doesn't make them pay money or doesn't stop them with turn counts, doesn't stop them with stamina caps, that doesn't stop them with all this bullshit that you're like, oh, it's part of the strategy of the game. It doesn't become part of the strategy of the game when it stops your account from progressing, when it stops you from playing. It's not part of the strategy. It's part of your strategy to get us to pay money. That is as much as everybody should understand. When a game slows down, when it becomes to progress, when it comes to unlocking stuff, when it literally comes to anything in the game, it is for one and one reason, because the developers are trying to squeeze more money out of you. Otherwise, the game would work completely fine, it would work smoothly, and you would be able to do everything by just playing the game. That's why earlier console games were such big things, were amazing, because you would pay money, you would get the game, maybe there'd be some DLC, but that's it. And you could complete the game, you'd have access to everything, and the only thing stopping you would be how much time you spend on the game. There would be no stamina caps, there would be no turn. I mean, obviously some games would have some stuff like that built into it, but they would make it enough so that it wouldn't be an annoyance. Like, this game has a lot of those annoyances. I mean, they kind of have everything else figured out. Honestly, in my opinion, like I've said, they have been cooking the past few updates. So, like, I'm getting towards the end of the video here. They've done PvP pretty well. I guess the last thing I could really mention is Esper. Esper balancing. Like all the older Espers, they need some power boost. We got Li Ling, we got what's his name? Yamato. We got some like day one, not day one, but like some early Espers that could definitely use some buffs, either to their Vinates or their kits, that could make them a lot more viable in literally anything, because there's a lot of Espers people don't use. And we're seeing a lot of power creep. Daji and Fushi are some of the most broken Espers. They literally do everything. I mean, they don't do everything, but they do so much that when you pair them up together with, like, I don't know, a Pan, and then a TA, and then, I don't know, something else. Like, you pair them up with all these other characters that do so well with all their other stuff that you basically make a team that does everything and literally is, like, disgust. Like, it'll be, the power creep is really, really settling in. Now, it's fine that they're doing this to the normal element espers, not the shimmers, because we already have problems with shimmers, and we've been having them for a while. We have Anna, we have Toland, we have, well, Sean Penn hasn't been a problem, but she's just a leaderboard menace. Like, we just have shimmer espers in general that are annoying. Of course, there are some shimmer espers that they need a buff. I will say, Unis is pretty decent. They could buff him a little bit. Trevor's fine. He's still going to be the damage PvP one-shot killer. And mostly he's for leaderboard content, so that's fine. Like, that's what he's meant for, right? And then, like, Cecilia, they could buff her a little bit. Like, she's good, but, like, I feel like she's fallen off a little bit. Feng Nushi has fallen off a lot, apparently. Like, I mean, she's still very good, but it's just, like, she's fallen off. Like, they could buff her a little bit. She's still very broken, though. Like, there's a problem, right? That you can't overbalance Esper. But yeah, the power creep is only for the Inferno and Wind and Flow Espers, which is good because those are the Espers that are weaker than the Shimmers, so you kind of need a... No. balance some system out, because the whole point of the shimmers is that, yeah, they're technically more premium and harder to get and they're cooler, but the main aspect of them is that they just don't have any weaknesses or strengths. They're just shimmers. So like that should be the main focus. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's like the main thing. Like again, they've done PvP pretty well now. They have point ward, they have knockout, they have beep out. A lot of it is automated or auto battles, but I mean it's PvP. If you want to watch the battle, you can go ahead, be my guest. I would rather have an auto mode as an option, because in my opinion, I like having my time spent efficiently rather than spending 30 minutes watching each battle when you have to face an Ana or something. They have done a lot of like rework. So like again, I used to complain about Temporal Tower. It's super easy now. Infinity Tower is still pretty hard, but again, that's more late game stuff. Chaos Realm is not that hard. It's mostly RNG and spending a long ass time doing these, which is why I kind of just like was like, all right, I'll come back later for the last 4 stars. Calamity Islands still like pretty well balanced. Of course, you need full teams for that, so like that's nice. So again, they've done enough. Falsetto Fantasy, they added that, so there's enough to the game where you're still doing a lot and it's keeping you occupied. Now in terms of account progression, it's a little bit lacking in my opinion, so then maybe they can increase the rewards, which is what I was saying. But other than that, I think they've done a pretty good job of keeping you engaged in the game. Now all they need to do is make sure that you can keep engaging with the game meaningfully, meaning that your account is actually progressing. You're getting more resonances on your espers instead of just having, you know, R1s and R0s, because that is mostly what you have even at level 100. Like my account, I think I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 characters that are R2 or above. And those are obviously the legendaries. Everything else is R0, R1 or below. So again, R2s are very important. And the problem is that you don't really get them until you're level 100 and you're really pushing. Yeah, you get some R2s, like again, I have 10 R2s or above. And you start getting those around level 80 if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, you just get a ton of R0s and R1s, and you're just stuck with an account that can't really progress, because R2s pretty much enable most espers, and they also just help the esper do what they do better, or do it more best. Do it best, sorry, whatever. You understand what I'm saying. Yeah, and so again, balancing espers, making espers more accessible, and then fixing your echo. Those are the 3 main problems. Everything else they've done pretty good. Events, they could add a little bit more, but that's pretty fine. So echo, again, wish stones, either adding them to the elemental draws, and they should already do this no matter what, even if they do that anyway, which is change the chances, like I said, make it so that you don't get divinities for espers you don't have, but as soon as you get that esper, it's already added into the gold drop or gold pool, so you basically have a lower chance of getting any divinity because you don't have those legendary espers or epic espers or rare espers. But again, rare espers are much easier to collect, and eventually you'll have all of them by like account level 60. But then you can, you know, it'll just be better for progression. Anyway, thank you all for watching. As always, AOG Gaming here. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Really shows your support, helps me out, keeps you updated my content. 192 subscribers last time check, so y'all are amazing. Keep going. Yeah, we are pushing our accounts. We're obviously doing all Celestial Anomaly stuff. I will talk about that in another video, but they did a very good job with Celestial Anomaly, and I will explain everything about it in a much shorter, like probably 10-minute video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So R2, let me get you to R2. Nice. Hey, now I can actually use him in PvP because he's okay. Okay. Yeah, that's it for the video. So yeah, Celestial Anomaly video coming down. We'll do a full in-depth view of that. Obviously, we did a whole thing about that for the Season 0 Celestial Anomaly, but it's completely different, so we're going to have to make a whole new series about it. Yeah, as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see everybody in the next video.